Do you love carbohydrates? Then you're in luck. Try Zatarans, also known as the San Francisco Treat.
Welcome to the Boardgamesnobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Go, Jerry.
And welcome to the Board Game Snob podcast. This podcast is about board games, but it tends to get out in the right field every once in a while. We talk about many things. I am your host, the only host of this podcast, and I'm joined by two other people who happen to have microphones.
Stop and restart it.
Garby.
Now that you're done with
Garby?
this,
Garby.
Is that the
fake
best
news.
you could come up with?
I know a guy that does call me Garby,
Who?
actually.
Who calls you Garby?
It's just this friend of mine from another town over.
Now, who is this friend that calls you?
I mean, I can tell you who the friend is, but nobody listening would know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we would know.
You're right.
Gary Ricks. There. Does that help you?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I see your
y'all
point.
stop the show to find out who calls me Garby.
You stomp the show all the time with your whining and your
Everyone's
bickering.
going to call you Garby now.
All right, I'm done talking to you. My co-host Gabi
No.
is in a fine mood today, and he's
Don't have
upset.
to.
He's upset
No.
because something has hurt his feelings, which we will talk about later in the show. Right now, let me turn my attention to the other person with a microphone in the room, Enrique.
Hello there.
With a microphone and
Obi-Wan, is that you?
and no sleeves.
Hello there.
So Enrique is gearing up, as you all know. Many people are going, is it Nevada, to go storm Area 51? Enrique is gearing up, training for that.
What?
So how's that
What?
working
I
out?
thought that already come to pass.
No, it's in September.
No, it's September. September, what, 16?
I believe
don't
so.
know. I don't keep up of when
I'm gonna
everyone's
So while that
charging.
we have you here, Enrique has been practicing his Naruto running. How's that pronounced? Explain that to me. You run with your arms
run
extended
with your arms
back.
straight behind you.
I don't know. Aerodynamic.
No. There's no
aerodynamics.
I've never seen
don't know.
Usain Bolt do the Naruto running. What if he did? Fastest man alive.
Don't
Goes
ask
burning
me
by.
such
That would be
questions.
amazing.
That would be amazing.
If he took off with his
If I
arms
was him at the next Olympics, I would just do that just to get attention. Make people think that's how you gain speed.
I came across a story. This was like a couple weeks ago.
All right, go
Several weeks, almost a month ago.
We'll allow it.
I'll allow it on my show.
Continue.
Thank you for allowing me to talk on my show. Kenya's Homa Bay. This was on BBC News. Fart pushes speaker to suspend debate.
What? This is on the BBC News. Let me see that.
A heated debate about market stalls was disrupted by a foul smell and furious finger pointing at a Kenyan regional assembly. Local reports say, "Honorable Speaker, one of us has polluted the air, and I know who it is." Julius Gaya reportedly told Homa Bay County Assembly. Can you imagine sitting in a assembly hall full of your peers, letting one sneak out, and it is so foul they have to suspend the assembly?
That's how you establish dominance. That's how if you're ever in heated negotiations and it's not going your way, just knock them off guard.
Not going to listen to me, are you? Well,
If you can't attack them mentally, attack their olfactory senses. That's what I always say.
we haven't even suspended our podcasting for farts.
Well, we edit those out. Well, thankfully,
They stopped a county assembly.
follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever else you want to talk about.
more glorious stories
what
like
is
that.
Discord?
I don't know, but it's a big
Oh,
thing.
you mean the gaming chat thing?
Yes. What is that?
It's basically it's used for computer.
I understand that.
Obviously,
The internet chat is usually used basically.
Okay.
but it is just like a party chat.
A party chat?
Yeah.
So this is like in the 80s where we had the party line where you could pick up the phone and...
Yeah,
Go to chat room.
It's like
Remember
if you
chat
didn't want to
rooms?
use like game
AOL.
chatting, like
Hey.
in game, you would just go to Discord and it's kind of like a private party chat
A
room.
private party chat room. Well, I'm going to get us one. Because all the cool people have a Discord. We're going to get a Discord. And what do you do on the Discord?
Here's the problem. We've got emails, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook.
You can email us at boardgamesnobs@gmail.com.
We've got a Facebook page. We've got a Facebook group, and I can't keep track of all of them.
We are trying
Discord?
to keep up with the cool people. All right.
Okay, should you post in the group or on the page?
I
don't even know.
I'm going to put Enrique in charge of the Discord.
Oh my God.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
And he'll take care of this. This is going to work out fine.
The
Trust
problem
me.
literally is in the name. It leads to Discord.
Well, there you go. If Enrique,
just get
that's
on there
why
and
I'm putting
everybody
Enrique.
fights?
He's the president of the Discord.
Oh God.
He sure is.
So if we're going to get this set up,
All
and we'll
right.
figure it out.
All right.
And so if you want to chat with Enrique about a Naruto running Area
Please
51,
stop.
anything else that he's an expert on,
How to cut the sleeves off your shirt
yes,
with precision.
the modern sleeveless fashions of today.
Actually, I get mine custom.
I have them shipped in from Italy.
Yes.
Getting to games, something I know you.
Oh yeah, we're about board games. This podcast is about board games. We do like the banter.
I know. I do love to banter.
Continue.
But is there any game out or coming out that you're even looking forward to?
There are two. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
There is.
That's why I wrote the script.
Oh, we don't have a script. I just literally told you like an hour ago, but there's only two games, and you have forgotten. It is
What?
Undaunted Normandy by Osprey Games, a 2-player card game, and The King's Dilemma, which you are going to enjoy. I'm going to
Is that
buy
a-
that.
is that a-
and
is
we
that
are
that
going to
negotiation
enjoy it.
one?
And yes, and you're going to
God.
like it.
You don't tell me what I'm going to like.
Well, there you go.
Oh, speaking of which, I watched Hobbs and Shaw, Enrique.
How was it?
I thought you saw it.
Yeah, and I'm asking you.
You're asking me what I thought about it?
Yes.
He's like, I don't know how I feel. How do you think it was? It was incredibly stupid, and I understand it's supposed to be stupid. I mean, it's Fast and Furious, alumni. But I thought it was a little too crazy. Like, they've just gone full-blown superhero.
It's like, all right.
They can jump out of buildings, land on people, get punched, shot. It don't matter. They're invincible.
Like, oh, hey, we're going to a almost future-based Earth. Let's make this guy superhuman of where he can...
I mean, Idris Elba's just like a cyborg, basically.
And let's give him a motorcycle that literally can just, like, swerve around two
The
semis.
motorcycle was stupid. It was so like, oh my God. It's like
I've not seen it, so
we've
don't
gone
spoil it
from-
for me. Because you know I'm going to run out and watch this.
It's got Jason Statham in it.
I'm just dying for this.
It's got.
Please tell me more.
Okay, so you had Fast and Furious in 2000, right?
Right.
Yeah, 2000.
They're stealing VCRs out of the back of semis.
Correct.
And
Those
it's-
old
and it's the-
Emersons.
And it's the Point Break. It's basically Point Break redone.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Point
was a
Break,
big
but
hit.
on the road.
Right. They surfed on cars, not surfboards.
Right.
Then progression, everybody knows it is progressed to ridiculousness. And now, literally, they are super futuristic cars. They just hop on the internet and do crazy stuff. They can track down anybody, anywhere. And it was like lots of punches.
Right.
Lots of punches to the face.
Well, when you have plot holes, you tend to have. I have this theory. It's like
Punch in
one
the
of those,
face?
what's one of those diagrams. The more plot holes you have in a movie, the more punches that
To
you have to
distract?
throw. Yes.
Well,
you
yeah.
have
plot
to.
holes for the potholes.
Yes.
So many plots for holes.
See.
So many plot
This is why I don't like this banter section. Somebody the other day was asking, and first off, I'd like to say to
We've gotten several reviews.
to all of our fans, thank you for rating us and putting us on the
What do they put us on?
YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is that you like us on, iTunes, whatever.
Somebody says on Apple reviews, they said hilarious.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's very kind. But somebody on Facebook
I wasn't done.
Okay, continue.
This is Medicine JSR. These guys are so much fun. I like Board Games Talk, but I love their banter even more.
See, that's what I was about to bring
Thank
up.
you, sir.
On Facebook,
Thank you, sir.
they put on there on the
know
Facebook, they
what to
asked
say.
who your favorite top 3 board game podcast are. Of course, people mention, the same top 3 that shall not be
Well,
named.
it was on the Dice Tower Facebook.
Okay, who? And so,
Dice Tower, Secret Cabal, and name your third person. Or it's
Yes.
always the top three.
So somebody mentioned us, and it was none other than Dan Hughes.
Mr. Hughes.
I know Mr. Hughes. Now, I don't know him personally, but I've heard him on the radio,
Yes.
on the internet radio. That is my Stitcher.
I was not aware. I knew this game is broken, but I did not know the sporadically bored. And I listened to it, and I like it. If you like us, I think you will like Sporadically Bored. I don't mind promoting other podcasts.
I don't want to promote other podcasts. Don't
know
listen
you
to
don't.
Sporadically Bored. You should just listen to us.
Board
and if
Game
you listen
Barrage,
to anybody else, you are
Sporadically Bored.
portraying us. That's how I feel.
Portraying.
Good. Well, but if you're like me and you like
And are indecisive?
No. I have too much time on the road, and I run out of things to listen to.
Just that's why they have the little shuffle thing.
Just
you can
repeat.
just listen to our
Repeat.
episodes over and,
And
over
welcome
and over.
to another episode of Board Games
It works out
Snobs,
fine.
Episode
Works
number
out-
1.
Works out just fine. Start over. We're on episode like 69, 68, somewhere along there. Just start over. We're almost syndicated.
Kamanok.
What?
Kamanok?
What?
This is another person on
I don't know
review.
him.
He said, Couples Therapy. Title. I hear you. I see you. I acknowledge you. I wish you'd say that to me more often. Because usually you hear me, but
Yes.
then you just react in a mean manner.
React in a mean manner.
Too. I
Do
can't say
not.
anything without you just
What do
getting
you
on to
mean?
me.
I don't get on to you about anything.
do
I don't get on to you about
God
anything. This
forbid I
is
ask a question
exactly-
about a rule.
You do. You don't under.
See?
I hear
See?
you.
See?
I feel you. I don't care about that.
See? There you
you
go.
go. How about that?
And there's the reaction.
Will you cut his mic? So
I did that last time. Then forgot to turn it back on.
I want to talk about a game today that is an oldie but a goodie. It was one that we played, I say we, me and Enrique, several years ago at BGG, Grand Austria Hotel, by Salomone Luciani and Virgilino. How do you say his name?
So, I mean, it looks
Giggly?
like Simone Luciani and Virginio.
I can't
know.
see the box from here.
Geely?
I'm guessing.
The movie, everybody called it Geely. That was
Geely?
spelled that same way.
Nice. Grand Austria Hotel is a medium weight, possibly some would consider heavy Euro game. It's older, not super old, but it was made by Mayfair, and it's still readily available. You can still find it. The same group of people, of designers that made this, are responsible for some of the team on Coimbra, for Zolkin, for Teotihuacan, and probably our favorite, Lorenzo El Magnifico. Played Grand Austria Hotel years ago.
Troy's.
Troy's or Troyes. Remind me about Troy here in a minute.
Okay.
So Grand Austria Hotel, Gabi played it once many moons ago. Left a sour taste in his mouth. We insisted
It was late at night.
that we
tired.
play it again. So I'm going to turn this over to Gabi before I go into my mundane explanation of how the game is played, because I see you,
Did it
I
again?
hear you, and I want you to speak for a moment while I get a refill on my beer.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Talk for a moment. While I'm out of the room.
Oh, thank God. You know what, Enrique?
Yes.
Like, I feel less pressure. Like, when Jerry leaves, I just feel relaxed. Like, having a good time. Now I like having a good time. Jerry's gone.
Well, yes. And then when he comes back, you're going to have more pressure on because now he's
You know why?
getting
Because he's
beer.
going to deride me. Yeah, he went back for another beer.
I don't know why you allow him to get beer. I really don't.
Well, something's got to loosen him up.
Like
The only
I know
time
he's
he
more.
gets-
I know he's more interesting when
the
he
only
drinks.
time he gets somewhat relaxed, he does get a little fiery, but he gets a little more relaxed when he has a few sips in him.
Yeah, it's just that. But then he becomes very hard to control.
Well, how? How does it become hard? He ain't hard to control.
When he's like talkative, yes, he is.
But anyway, so what we were
Maybe
saying,
physically
Jerry,
he
is
might
that
be able to-
the depth of this game is just very fascinating to me, and that you have so many options in which to play. You know, which character you're going to choose, which die you choose.
You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just rambling. Let me
So,
pick it up where I left.
I mean, what it
as
says-
I was saying,
Yeah, you're right, Enrique. He needs to stop drinking.
Grand Austria Hotel is a
So, okay, we played it once,
okay.
and it was late at night. It was me and Jerry, and I was tired, and I was like, I mean, I just don't remember grokking the game. Like, I just didn't remember it. But I remember seemed like it, I could see there was something there. So then we played Trois, same group of guys. And Jerry was like, I think I like Trois better than Grand Austria. And you and Enrique both were like, no, Grand Austria is better. I was like, okay, well, let's play it again. So we did. We played it again a couple weeks ago. From whenever this comes out. I need to stop dating things because sometimes I put these out at weird times. So we played Grand Austria again. I really liked it. Did terrible at it. Enrique beat both of us.
Soundly.
And I was like 160 something. I was like at 50. But it refreshed. I was like, oh yeah, I do like this game. There's a lot to it, but I still like it. So then we just got through playing it now twice in a row.
We never play anything twice in a row, do we?
Very rarely. We have to really like something to play it twice in a row.
Or really hate it.
Just to make sure. Oh, yeah, we did hate that game. But the first time just then, we played it. Jerry destroyed me and Enrique. Like, me and Enrique were well under 30 points, and Jerry lapped the board. But I still liked it. But I messed up early on, used my money too much, and then I was broke, couldn't do nothing. I said, one more time. And then I played a little more conservative. I actually kind of thought out my moves.
Thought ahead?
Well, I thought ahead. That's not something I'm good at.
And then he lapped the board twice.
I'm a man of the moment. I lapped the board 1.5. Why don't you talk about that instead of what Jerry does?
Like, it's more like you never talk about the person that's second place. Like,
How
this is how it
dare
is.
You really don't.
How?
It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a
and you
mile.
don't even mention the
Winning
guy
is winning.
in third place.
You don't.
Tell that
which
to
is
the
me.
guy that
Second place is just first place
Evander
loser.
Holyfield bit the ear off of.
That
was Mike Tyson.
That was Mike Tyson.
Who did he bite the ear off
I'm pretty
of?
sure he bit the ear off Mike
Holyfield.
Tyson. I'm pretty sure. No. Mike Tyson bit the ear off of Holyfield. I remember because my dad used to box him.
I remember Holyfield. I bet Holyfield was irritated.
Did you made that reference to segue into that stupid joke, didn't you? No. This is the type of stuff. No. This is the type of stuff that I have to deal with. Your randomness generally is leading to an ignorant joke that you have. Yes.
And you let it happen.
I don't care what you say. I'll always lobe you.
Grand Austria Hotel. The game begins by you taking a handful of dice with 3 players. I believe it's 12 dice. It goes up and down depending on the player count. You roll these dice, and then you segregate the dice out into one of 6 spaces on this area, this player board, where you can select the dice. So if there are 3 dice in this one little area, you take that action times 3, essentially. So
just as an example, if there's 3. If there's 4, if there's 5, you never the action how many times the dice are.
Correct. And what you're trying to do is invite guests to your little restaurant that you have in your hotel. Feed them one of the 4 items that is
You're
considered
basically
resources.
out there spinning signs.
You're what?
You're spinning your signs. And, hey, come over here. Come to my hotel.
Come get strudel.
Yeah, cake.
Yeah.
Coffee. Strudel.
What is technically strudel? I know there's toaster strudel. We have that in America. But that went away because Pop-Tarts.
It's
Toaster strudel is just the rich man's Pop-Tart, right?
That's one I always never got.
You didn't have toaster strudel?
No, I got Great Value brand Pop-Tarts. Like the strudel always had the fancy little
packet,
cream,
the little packet that you put on it. Yeah, you didn't have that.
No,
we had that.
That's for rich people.
We had that for a little bit.
Must be nice.
It was nice.
Must be nice to be rich.
And while you're feeding
cake, coffee, strudel, and what?
Wine, coffee,
wine. That's it.
After you give your guests the resources that you have to manage, you then try to assign them to a room. Your player board has these 3 colored different rooms that you have to pay to prepare, and then you're basically utilizing combos. So if you seat this particular person,
what?
You're utilizing combos.
Oh, okay.
You get this guest into your diner, you feed them, and then you get them to the room. If you match the room to the patron, if they're a blue patron, you put them in a blue room, you get the bonus from them, and you get the victory points. And so it's a neat little thing of having to get your rooms together, having to have enough money to prepare your rooms, having to get the right guest, having to have the right resources to feed them back and forth.
Pleasing the emperor.
Yeah, yes, which is kind of odd. Like, I guess the emperor shows up at the Grand Austria Hotel every once in a while, and if he's not pleased, he's kind of irate with you and punishes you somehow.
Why would he not be pleased?
I guess your hotel
Your
is not.
cooking sucked.
It could be. Your strudel is not.
Burnt strudel.
Burnt strudel.
Like, what
You
type of
burnt the
cake is
emperor's
this?
strudel.
Folgers coffee.
What is your favorite cake?
Chocolate.
No, besides chocolate. Everybody says chocolate. What is your actual favorite cake?
That's it. I don't like.
Like, I'm literally I'm just going to give like a basic answer, and it's vanilla.
And?
It's vanilla.
There's no such thing. There's what?
My mother-in-law makes an apple cake.
Okay.
With chunks of pecan in it.
The correct answer was red velvet.
No.
Oh yeah. Baby.
No.
You see somebody eating red velvet cake, you know that guy, and his life is lined out.
Red velvet. Don't
Don't know that. What is that?
I think it's black velvet.
It's black velvet. What are you drinking?
This is Modelo.
I am drinking an Icelandic beer. Christopher. Our friends are snobs from Iceland. I obtained several different types of their Icelandic beer pronounced Ingstock. Ingstock? How do you pronounce that?
Don't try.
I don't care. It's great. I don't really like the porter, but I'm really liking the white ale, the pale ale, the white ale. I mean, it's really good. Really good. I'm
The pale man likes the pale ale.
There you go.
Sounds
There you
fun.
go.
You're the palest of us are here.
I am. I am anemic and Irish.
Is that why
And
you're
he
pale?
doesn't sweat.
How did we get off?
I'll
of this?
just ask questions. You know what? Literally, I will just ask a question or make a statement. You derail yourself.
Red velvet.
You enjoy talking so much.
do enjoy talking. Grand Austria Hotel. Grand Austria Hotel. Lindsay likes it. Lindsay's a listener. Mm-hmm. Yes, and if Lindsay likes it,
I did a complete 180 on Grand Austria
Lindsay
Hotel.
sent us an email and said, "Yeah, it's good," and we told her it was good.
But I still think so. Out of all this group's games, Teotihuacan, Coimbra, Grand Austria, Lorenzo, Zolkin, Troyes, Newton,
They have another one that just came
Marco
out
Polo.
called Barrage.
Haven't played that one yet.
Which I haven't either, but according to Paul Ruane,
Ruane, I
believe
believe.
how it's pronounced. He was talking about apparently there's some issues going on. Apparently their Kickstarter messed up, and there's some production
Is it
issues.
Cranio?
Yes, there's some
Really?
serious production issues with it, and
That's
people are.
unfortunate.
I know, but anyways, go back to what you were saying. What's your favorite?
So this group of guys, Simone is like the one that I notice on the games I like the most. Mainly Lorenzo, Grand Austria. I like Newton. I like Newton, but I would say for me, it's still Lorenzo at the top, Grand Austria second. Everything else kind of third.
Lorenzo is the red velvet of the group. I like Lorenzo better than I do Grand Austria. Matter of fact, I say that if you enjoy Grand Austria, then you should probably own Lorenzo and vice versa.
And they're very similar.
Well, yes, they're similar, but there's
not very
there's
similar.
enough
There are
difference in between
similarities.
them that I think you can justify owning both.
Yeah. Because I mean, in this one, there's lots of dice you choose from. They're very different. They're very similar. They're very different.
So can I task?
This is why I don't make this.
This is why you're the
I'm not a
co-host.
professional reviewer.
They're very different, but yet they're very similar. Can I ask you this? I'll ask you this question. Out of everything we've played this year, even the new stuff, would you consider this probably the best thing you've played so far this year?
Grand Austria?
Yeah.
Good Lord. I don't remember what we played yesterday.
Comes to mind?
Underwater Cities.
Oh, don't spoil the next podcast.
Well, I mean, other
Keep
than
under
that,
wraps.
I liked Escape Plan.
It was good. Yes, it was good.
I'd have to look at my stuff and see what we've played.
you-
But,
but you would
but
rank-
it's just, I mean, I have a tendency to just kind of remember what we've played most recently.
But you
But
rank this pretty highly.
I like it a lot.
A lot.
I really like it. I'm browsing quickly. I liked Nations quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking, these are older games.
Right.
As far as games for this year, putting Teotihuacan up there since it's the same group of guys, I definitely like Grand Austria way better. Teotihuacan is super abstract, even though this one, I mean, it's not like you're really enjoying pretending you're providing these guys cake and putting up in a room.
I enjoy it. It's very
No,
dramatic.
I would say this is at the top,
Anybody
yes,
comes to my house,
of games I've played.
you go into the red room, and here's your strudel. That's exactly what happened.
How come we don't ever record at your house?
Because I
It's
have children.
too small.
and it's way far
Talk
away.
into the front of the mic,
I will
not the
talk.
side of the
I'll
mic.
talk to wherever I want.
Well, you can, but nobody will hear you. And I know that would break your heart. God
So-
forbid.
Speaking of which, boy, you're salty today.
You're both salty.
You're
today.
salty because you're upset. And I understand.
Stop telling me I'm upset.
You are upset.
You know what makes people upset is
What?
when you tell them they're upset.
Calm down. Calm
That
down.
always works.
Literally, that works. I don't
You
know,
know
why
what?
people.
I'm glad you told me that.
I don't know why. You thank you. I don't know
I
why
am now
people.
calm.
Why is hostage negotiating a thing? All you gotta do
You
is
need
just
to calm down.
Just calm down. It just works.
For a hostage negotiator, you need to learn 4 words. You need to. Oh, no, 5 words. Calm down. You need to. What do I need to do? You need to. Oh, it's a cliffhanger. I'm just saying.
Why don't TV shows
You
do
got to
those
tease
anymore?
them. You need to, and then you just walk away.
They just
Then the guy's like, what do I need to do?
leave them hanging.
What do I need to do?
Leave them hanging. So, we don't generally get into topical stuff on our
Are we gonna
podcast,
do that
do we?
now?
Yeah, I'm going to do that now.
Okay, let's do it.
Because now you've got me upset.
Oh, snap.
Because you've both been drinking.
We made. Cut his
time.
mic. Cut his
Every
mic.
time.
I don't
Okay.
need him listening.
Okay, we're done.
Just done with that. Thank you. sir.
Laugh now, Enrique.
Okay.
Yeah, that works just fine. Back to the corner with you.
Remind me to turn you back on when you start talking. Well, I mean, you have something to say.
Important.
Because you usually just like breathe heavily into the microphone.
So, a few
nose
episodes
makes a
ago,
high-pitched
we
whistle.
made some comments regarding plagiarism. Back before about July the 4th, July the 5th, an individual in the board gaming community was found out to have plagiarized, and it was somewhat of a big deal on certain social media outlets. But anyways, long story short, I don't want to bring that back up because it's not really the point of this topic. A few days ago, a podcast called Board Game Insider, which is hosted by somebody who is very big in the board gaming community, Stephen Bonacore, the owner of Stronghold Games. I've met Stephen several times. Stephen's a nice guy.
Stephen Ignacy.
He's actually a judger of like a beer contest judge. Like he goes
love
around.
Steve.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
We said that when we come back from BGG Spring. He's like one of the nicest publishers there is.
If you-
He's very personable, talks to you, talks to anybody.
Very personal. On his previous podcast, he talked about Katie Adley. Katie Adley was the individual who apparently admitted to plagiarism. She was a part of a group called Punchboard Media. She admitted to plagiarism, issued an apology, and then deleted her website and various other pages like that.
A Padawan.
And we here at the Board Game Snob have our own plagiarizer. But
What's that?
will you please? You're killing me.
How dare you?
You don't plagiarize. Trying to keep this on a serious tone. Stephen made some comments on his podcast talking about how Katie Adley was a good friend of his and that she apologized. We should all just move on. We should forgive and take a chill pill, and that she didn't harm you, I believe was something that he brought up.
Very understandable to say as a person that like you want to protect your friend.
Right. So here's my point. And here's the things for which I'm going to try to lay out for all of our listeners who may not
In a
be-
respectful way.
in a respectful way. Thank you for reminding me. Basically, Katie Adley admitted that she plagiarized. And by plagiarism, I mean that she got on Board Game Geek, copy and pasted reviews of games, apparently, from that website that people had wrote, put them on her own blog, and made that to seem like it was her own work, and she benefited from this. This is not my point to shame or to even talk about Katie Adley. I'm done about talking about her. The point is that right after Mr. Bonacore discussed this matter and basically downplayed the plagiarism and everything surrounding this event, he went on to talk about counterfeiting in board games and talked about how now with Amazon, how easy it used to be for companies to counterfeit board games and sell fake board games on Amazon. And sometimes those would get lopped into actual genuine board games that were made from a company. So this greatly
I didn't even know that
irritated
was,
me. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yes, it is a thing. It is a thing.
And I bought Gentees the other day,
You're right.
and it came to me like without shrink wrap.
Happens.
I was a little concerned.
Was it counterfeit?
How do you tell?
Well, sometimes the things will. You look on the box and you look for. First off, you look. Is this it?
Yes.
You look at obvious misspellings. Apparently, you bought a game called Genitalia. first clue.
Oh no!
I'm just joking. No. Well, no. Sometimes they will. They'll post send games that have been altered. Basically, they're not the original game from the publishers. Needless to say, I'm glad that this has been resolved, and now there's been some laws put in place where Amazon can't lop in genuine board games with counterfeit board games. So, of course, since Mr. Bonacore owns a company that sells board games, he is very passionate about counterfeit board games and getting them off the market. Just as I, being somewhat in, we're not board game reviewers, we'll say we're entertainers, board game media people, are very passionate about keeping frauds out of the board game media industry. And so to downplay somebody who openly admitted to plagiarism, to act as if that's not a big deal, and to make comments regarding how this individual's actions did not harm you and that you should take a chill pill, I believe was his phrase that he utilized, immediately go into talking about how counterfeiting in the board game industry is wrong. Matter of fact, to utilize the term cheaters, that if you buy counterfeit board games, you are cheating, which I agree on. That to me seems very disingenuous. Matter of fact, from my standpoint, it is very similar. The outcome for somebody who plagiarizes, and you can talk to anybody who is in any form of academia, anybody who's ever been to any undergraduate school, that if you are caught plagiarizing for any type of articles or anything like that, the result is generally you are kicked out of school. It harms you. Your integrity is stained for almost the entirety of your academic career.
For a good long while.
Right. And so the fact is
you
that
might have to go through a long period of trying to prove yourself once again.
Correct. So from my standpoint, it was very disingenuous, and matter of fact, a nice example of cognitive dissonance. Is that what it's called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can compare that you just completely hate on counterfeiting, but then completely just ignore the fact that we have a media person who was copying and pasting other people's reviews. It's from what the allegedly
from all, you have to say allegedly to all this stuff. So you might say,
just edit allegedly and everything I just said.
You might say
allegedly.
The term I hear a lot is tone deaf.
I am tone deaf.
What he said is tone deaf.
I can't carry.
So he's talking about you should not counterfeit because basically it's stealing this publisher's product and putting it forth as your own.
Correct.
And you're making money off of that.
Allegedly.
That is literally
the
same thing as what was done. They took something from somebody else, produced it as theirs. It was not theirs. It was fake. It was counterfeit. It was not theirs, and produced it as their own. This is my thing. We're not attacking the person, and nobody should.
No.
But you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. That's just part of being an adult. That's part of growing up. That's part of having integrity and moral fiber about you. If you do something like this, it's going to be a good long while before the profession you're involved in should be able to trust you again.
Correct.
What it did to me was when he said these statements, oh, no big deal. She just did this, she did that. That undercut to me all the other reviewers out there that go through a lot of hard work and effort to write reviews, shut up and sit down, writes excellent reviews on their website. They produce all these fantastic, along with a myriad of others that are, they professionally review games. But to say, oh, it's not that big a deal. So it's like all the work they do is, well, it's not that big a deal.
Just to talk about reviewers, people who do written reviews, Dan Thrott, I believe his name is, at spacebiff.com. I've mentioned him before. He is one of the most, if not the premier board game writers in terms of reviews. Not only are they very comical, they're very succinct. He doesn't follow the formula like most reviewers do about talking about just the components and so forth. He actually talks about the feel of the game, what makes it special. He is just an excellent, superb writer. And I don't see, he is not that popular, I don't think. Like, I don't actually hear his name mentioned a whole lot because he's like us. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. He's not in the mainstream board game media. We're just two guys in a room somewhere that happen to have a couple
He's not one of the
microphones.
big boys.
He's not in the in crowd. Apparently,
There is an in crowd in
and
board
there
gaming.
is an in crowd in board game media. There are people who are friends
and
with,
we desperately want to be in
and
it.
we will sell out in a moment. If Stephen, if you hear this,
We're not going to be in there after this.
yes. Well, no, I'm not attacking Stephen. I'm not
I
saying
love
that
Steve.
Stephen should apologize. I'm not saying that I'm even offended. I'm just saying that what Stephen said puzzled me. Two things. Number one, what Stephen said, and this episode, this little segment is directed towards Stephen. I think that was kind of tone deaf. I don't expect him to apologize. I don't care. I really don't. I just think that it's odd that he would not compare the two and not realize that there is a connection. And that's the one point. And the second point is that I understand that Stronghold Games has gotten the rights to the reprint of Coffee Roasters. And I love Coffee Roasters. It's my favorite solo game. So, Stephen, if you listen to this, please send me a copy of Coffee Roasters, and then I will go on BGG, find a review that I can copy and paste onto our blog, and then it won't be such of a big deal, will it? What would take place that if people were to go around and plagiarize reviews of Terraforming Mars, I suspect his attitude towards this would be different. And I think that's what irritates me the most about this situation, is that one, it has been downplayed because the individual involved seemingly, allegedly, may be a part of a group of people that are in the in crowd, and thus it is beneficial for all those. It's a conspiracy. I'm about to put on my tinfoil hat.
Big board gaming.
Big board gaming.
It's all part of big board
You're
gaming,
about
y'all.
you're about to make me go all Alex Jones here. Tom Vassal's a lizard man.
No.
That was funny. I don't care what you say.
Well, this is something I found. When you do something that is of bad moral character, breaks integrity, you're not going to be trusted for a while. And a month or two is not long enough to change that. Like, there have to be works, attitude, a period of time where, okay, well, they messed up a long time ago, but now I can kind of see that they are actively working hard to change this thing that they did.
Right.
And a month or two is not, you can't do that in that time period.
No.
It's not possible.
You kind of let things lie, and that's why I don't want to beat this dead horse. When I heard about this episode from somebody in our Facebook group, I went ahead and listened to it, and it just greatly irritated me because I believe it cheapens the profession. And we are not professional board game reviewers. We don't make a living doing this. We don't get any money from doing this. What?
We're nobody.
We're nobodies. And probably the 50 people that are probably going to listen to this podcast aren't going to care about what's going on. This is why I want to move off this subject. But there you go. I'm greatly irritated when somebody
Much like Evander Holyfield was.
completely irritated that people don't look at this as being as... You just threw me off. You're making me think of Evander Holyfield and his missing ear.
Sorry.
All right,
Trying to
please.
lighten up the situation.
No, all right. I'm done with it. There, I've turned the page.
Turn the
page.
page. Are you talking?
Are you back?
Do you have something to say?
Did you try those pork rinds?
Wait.
Scott sent us pork rinds and jerky.
Beef
All
jerky.
right, so here's the thing.
Hey, Scott, that beef jerky was good, and I let my wife taste them, and she immediately got online and ordered some.
What was the place called?
Bourgeois. I don't know how to say that.
I don't know. It's from Louisiana.
Bourgeois.
But it was real.
Thibodeau.
It was real
Thibodeau, Louisiana.
Louisianan jerky.
Scott, I'd like to hear your voice.
I have come out against jerky apparently in a previous podcast because I'm not a big fan of jerky, and I was informed by many people. You know what? Gabby begs for emails regarding board games. Doesn't get them. I make one comment of how I don't like rice and gravy and beef jerky. I get scads of emails.
Yeah.
Scott sent me
You don't know what's good,
sent
obviously.
me some jerky, and this is real jerky apparently, and it was awesome. Like, this is stuff that I would eat.
Some good stuff.
It's very nice.
That was literally the best jerky I've ever had.
Right, that's
It was
Louisiana.
tender, tasted like smoked
much
brisket.
much like me. Tender-hearted.
All right, briefly.
And accents. Somebody was talking about how they found my accent to be comical.
Yours?
Yes, I don't have
Really?
an accent. I don't know what
you
they're
do.
talking about.
Yeah,
What
you do.
accent do I have?
It's I guess Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma, because I am from Oklahoma. But I don't have an accent. But apparently these people from
I don't
north
have an accent.
don't have an
Says
accent.
a man with an accent.
What are you going to say? Go back to what you're talking about.
I don't know. I've lost track. I'll say it on the next podcast.
Oh,
that's going to do it for this time.
Are we ending? I had fan mail.
We did Grand Austria Hotel.
But I wanted to talk
Jerry
about
got on
fan
his
mail.
soapbox. No, we're going to do it next time. About this issue that has been plaguing the industry.
That was good. That was really good. And for the 50 people that listen to our podcast, maybe they are now more educated about our stance on plagiarism. Even though we have a member of our podcast that plagiarizes everything.
I'll be back.
That's not funny.
That's just funny.
No, it's not funny. You have to stop doing voices on the podcast.
Oh. Why do you just stare at me? I feel compelled to do the voice.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Sorry if this podcast was a lot of rambling, a little longer than other podcasts that we generally do and that we didn't.
You're talking to the side of the mic?
I'll
again?
talk, however, at the side of the mic. I'm talking outside of my face. Either way, next week we're going to be talking about, what do we have? Well, we got Underwater Cities.
Underwater Cities.
We played Pipeline. I didn't
Tiny
have enough
Towns.
time to go through our fan mail. So at the next podcast, we are going to do fan mail no matter what.
Because we've been flooded with
And we played Rurik, The Fall of Kiev.
Rick!
Which, yes, and we have other stuff. There's other stuff that we're going to talk about.
We played stuff we just forgot about.
Just get ready.
Okay.
Next time
This
on the
is
Board
Gabby.
Game Snobs podcast.
time at the Boardgamesnobs.
Your host, Jerry.
Your primary host, Gabi.
And the random guy, Enrique.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.